The alarm bells rang through the spire of unity for the first time in 800 years. Jin ran down the corridor, her breathing fast and heavy. She was someone who studied alien life, but today she felt more afraid than excited. The empty seats in the council chamber told a story that nobody wanted to believe. All the humans were gone. Not dead, not kidnapped, just gone. Every single one of them had vanished from every corner of the galaxy at the same exact moment. Jin had checked the data 17 times. The numbers did not lie. 300 human worlds, 2,000 space stations, 10,000 ships, all silent, all empty. She stood before the council now, showing them the evidence on floating screens. The alien representatives from 100 different species watched with wide eyes and nervous movements. Some had scales, some had fur, some were just clouds of gas in containment suits, but all of them looked scared. "There is no damage," Jin said, pointing to images of human cities. "No weapons fire, no signs of fighting. The buildings are perfect. The lights are still on in some places, but there are no people." A tall creature with 6 arms raised one of them. "What about their military bases?" "Empty," Jin answered, "but all their weapons are still there, locked away and untouched." The council chamber filled with worried whispers. For 300 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Council. They were quiet members. They followed the rules. They never caused trouble. But everyone knew the truth that nobody spoke out loud. Humans were terrifying. Jin pulled up another screen. It showed the last message from a human named Sung. He worked as a maintenance engineer on Station 9, fixing broken machines and keeping the air clean. His message was only 7 words long. "We're going home, don't follow." That was all. No explanation, no goodbye. Just those 7 words and then silence forever. "Home?" another council member asked. "But Earth is still there, we checked. The planet is empty too." Jin nodded. "Yes, Earth is there, but there are no humans on it. The cities are empty, the farms are abandoned. There is still food on tables in some houses, still warm." She changed the image again. This one showed a human school on a colony world. Small desks sat in neat rows. Books lay open. A child's drawing was pinned to a wall, showing a family under a yellow sun. But no children sat at those desks. No teacher stood at the front of the room. "They left everything behind," Jin continued. "Clothes in closets, money in banks. Even their pets are still there, confused and waiting." An old council member covered in blue feathers spoke in a shaking voice. "This was planned. They did this together, all at once, across the entire galaxy." The room went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. To coordinate billions of people across millions of light years, all moving at the exact same moment, required technology far beyond what the Council possessed. It required organization that was almost impossible to imagine, and humans had done it without anyone noticing they were planning it. Jin spent the next 3 days leading investigation teams to human worlds. Each one told the same strange story. On the colony of New Seoul, they found a restaurant with food still cooking on the stove. On humanity's trade station above Rigel 7, cargo ships floated in their docks, loaded and ready to depart. On the research base at Titan's Edge, experiments sat half-finished in laboratories. But there were no humans anywhere. On the 4th day, Jin found something unusual. She was searching through Sung's small apartment on Station 9. Most of his things were still there. Pictures of friends, a collection of old books, a plant that was starting to die from lack of water. But his computer was completely wiped, not just turned off. Every file was deleted, every message was erased, every photo was gone. It was so clean that it looked like the computer had never been used at all. Jin checked other human homes. Every computer was the same, perfectly empty. They took their knowledge with them. Whatever secrets humans had learned, whatever technology they had discovered, they made sure nobody else could find it. Jin returned to the council with her report. She stood before the representatives and told them what she had learned. When she finished, nobody spoke for a long time. Finally, the blue-feathered elder stood up. "We made them feel unwelcome," the elder said quietly. "For 300 years we asked them to be smaller, to be quieter, to use less advanced ships, to share their medical knowledge but not their weapons, to help us but never to lead us. We were afraid of them, so we made rules to keep them weak." Another council member argued back. "We had good reason to be afraid. Humans ended the 300-year war by themselves. They destroyed the empire in 6 months. 6 months. An empire that had ruled for 10,000 years. They did that to save us," the elder replied. "They were killing billions. Humans stopped them. And then humans asked to join our council as equals. We said yes, but we never treated them as equals. We treated them like dangerous children who needed to be controlled." Jin thought about Sung's message again. "We're going home." She finally understood. Humans had not been kidnapped. They had not been destroyed. They had simply decided to leave. They had grown tired of making themselves smaller to make everyone else comfortable. They had grown tired of being feared for the crime of being powerful. They had gone somewhere else, somewhere they could be themselves without apology. The council sat in their chamber, surrounded by empty human seats, and realized the terrible truth. Humans had not needed the Galactic Council. The Galactic Council had needed humans, and now they were gone, disappeared into silence, leaving behind only the question that nobody could answer. Where did they go? Dong Ho sat in the archives deep below the Spire of Unity, surrounded by data screens that floated in the air around him. He was young for a council researcher, barely 30 cycles old, but he had a gift for finding patterns in old information. Right now, he was searching through 300 years of human history, trying to understand what everyone had missed. The council had broken into angry groups after the humans left. Some species wanted to claim the empty human worlds for themselves. Others wanted to find the humans and bring them back. A few, like the Empire, saw opportunity in humanity's absence. They were already moving their war fleets toward human territory. But Dong Ho ignored the politics. He wanted to understand the truth. Why had everyone been so afraid of humans? He started reading the old records, going back to when humans first joined the council. The first file he opened made him sit back in shock. It was a military report from something called the 300-Year War. Before humans arrived, the galaxy had been burning. The Empire had conquered half of Council space. Billions died every year. The Council's combined fleets could not stop them. Then humans appeared. They had just discovered faster-than-light travel. They were new to the galaxy. They should have been weak. The war ended in 6 months. Dong Ho read the details 3 times to make sure he understood. A human military strategist named Jinwoo had created something called the Ember Protocol. Dong Ho did not understand all the technical terms, but the results were clear. Human ships could move in ways that broke the normal rules of physics. Human weapons could strike targets from distances that should have been impossible. But here was the strange part. According to the records, humans never used their full strength. Jinwoo's own notes said that the Ember Protocol was scaled down to minimum necessary force. Minimum. That word appeared everywhere in human military documents. Dong Ho found another file. This one was about a human scientist named Sunmi. She had invented something called the Cascade Drive. The technical description was difficult to read, but the summary was clear enough. The Cascade Drive could create a chain reaction in a star's core. One ship with a Cascade Drive could destroy an entire solar system. Humans had the plans for this weapon. Every council member knew they had it. But in 300 years, humans never built a single Cascade Drive. Sunmi herself had stood before the council and promised they never would. "We don't need weapons that destroy suns," she had said. "We need weapons that protect life." The council had been so relieved. They passed laws making Cascade technology illegal. They praised humans for their wisdom and restraint, but Dong Ho saw the truth now. Humans had not been restrained by council law. They had restrained themselves. The laws just made everyone else feel safer. He kept reading. Every human achievement had the same pattern. Humans would invent something amazing. The council would become nervous. Humans would agree to limits. But those limits were always human choices, not council enforcement. Humans had medical technology that could cure almost any disease. They agreed to share it slowly, so other species' economies would not collapse. Humans had engines that could cross the galaxy in days. They agreed to use slower ships, so council trade routes would still matter. Humans had AI that could think faster than any biological mind. They agreed not to build them, so other species would not feel inferior. Every compromise, every limitation, every promise to be less, all of it was humans making themselves smaller so everyone else could feel bigger. Dong Ho found a personal log from Jinwoo, written 20 years after the war. It was marked private, but the encryption was old and easy to break. He read the words on his screen and felt cold all over. They thank us for saving them, then they ask us to disarm, they praise our technology, then they ask us not to use it, they want us at the council table, then they want us to vote last and speak quietly. I'm tired. We're all tired. How long can we keep pretending to be less than we are? That was 20 years after the war. The log was 280 years old. Humans had been tired for almost the entire time they were on the council, but they had stayed. They had kept pretending. They had kept making themselves smaller. Until they could not do it anymore. Dong Ho's research was interrupted by alarms. The Empire had made their move. 300 warships had just entered the territory around a human colony world called Haven. The planet was empty of humans, but it was rich in rare minerals. The wanted it. Dong Ho watched the live feed as ships approached Haven. The planet looked peaceful from space. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. The broadcast their claim to the council. By ancient law, abandoned territory could be claimed by the first fleet to arrive. The admiral appeared on the screen, looking proud and strong. In the name of the Empire, we claim this world and all its resources. The humans are gone. These planets belong to whoever is brave enough to take them. Dong Ho felt sick. This was exactly what the humans must have expected. The moment they left, the vultures would come. The fleet entered orbit around Haven. Landing ships began to descend toward the surface. Soldiers prepared to march into empty human cities and claim them. Then Haven disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged, just gone. The entire planet vanished from space as if it had never existed. The ships found themselves orbiting empty air. Their sensors showed nothing. No debris, no energy signature, no trace that a planet had ever been there. Dong Ho watched the admiral's face turn from pride to confusion to terror. Other council members who were watching the feed began shouting. Scientists demanded explanations. Military commanders tried to understand what had happened. But Dong Ho understood. He had been reading about human technology for days. He had seen what they could do, even when they held back. He had read about Sunmi's theories on space manipulation. He had learned about human experiments with dimensional physics. Humans had not just left the galaxy. They had taken their worlds with them. They had moved entire planets out of normal space, and they had done it so smoothly that not a single building on Haven had fallen. Not a single tree had been harmed. The technology required for that was beyond anything the council could imagine. It was beyond anything Dong Ho had read in even the most secret human files, which meant humans had been hiding even more than everyone thought. They had been holding back so much that their maximum technology was still just a fraction of what they could really do. The admiral was screaming now, demanding answers. But Dong Ho just sat in his archive room, surrounded by 300 years of human history, and realized the terrible truth. The council had not been living with humans. They had been living with gods who were kind enough to pretend to be ordinary. And now those gods were gone, taking their miracles with them. 73 cycles had passed since the humans disappeared. The galaxy had learned to live without them, though nothing worked as well as it used to. Trade was slower. Diseases that humans used to cure now killed thousands. Wars broke out in sectors where human diplomats used to keep peace. The Council had searched everywhere. They sent ships to distant nebulas. They scanned dead zones where sensors barely worked. They even tried to recreate human dimensional technology, but every experiment failed. Humans were gone, and they had left no trail to follow. Then, on a quiet morning, a ship appeared outside the Spire of Unity. Not through the jump gates, not from any known direction. It was just suddenly there, as if it had been waiting all along and only now decided to be visible. The ship was small and simple. It looked like an old human courier vessel, the kind that used to deliver messages between stations. But the sensors could not read it properly. Every scan came back with impossible data. The ship was there, but also not there. It existed in normal space and somewhere else at the same time. Bora, the council's chief diplomat, was called immediately. She was old now, older than when the humans left. The stress of 73 cycles without humanity had added lines to her face. She stood in the council chamber, watching the mysterious ship on the main screen. "They came back," someone whispered. "No," Bora said quietly. "One of them came back, there's a difference." A message arrived from the ship, audio only, a human voice, male, calm and clear. "My name is Young. I'm a pilot of the vessel Quiet Answer. I carry a message from humanity. I request permission to dock and speak with the council." The chamber erupted in noise. Some council members wanted to grab the ship and force the human to tell them everything. Others wanted to welcome him with celebrations. A few wanted to refuse him entry entirely, afraid of what he might say. Bora made the decision. "Grant him permission to dock and prepare the council chamber. We hear what he has to say." 2 hours later, Young walked into the chamber. He looked ordinary, a human man in simple clothes, maybe 40 years old, with dark hair and calm eyes. He carried no weapons. He had no guards. He just walked to the center of the room and looked around at all the alien faces watching him. The captain of the council's defense fleet stood nearby with his soldiers. They all had weapons ready, though they kept them lowered. Was nervous. He had read the reports about human capabilities. He knew that if this one man wanted to hurt them, their weapons probably would not stop him. But Young just smiled and bowed politely. "Thank you for seeing me. I know you have questions. I'll try to answer them." Bora stepped forward. She had been chosen to speak for the council. "Why did you leave?" Young's smile faded a little. "You asked us to." "No, we didn't," someone shouted from the council seats. "We never told humans to leave." "Not with words," Young agreed, "but with everything else. Every time we invented something new, you created laws to limit it. Every time we offered to help, you told us to help less. Every time we succeeded, you asked us to succeed more quietly. For 300 years, you told us the same thing in 1,000 different ways. Be smaller, be quieter, be less." The chamber went silent. Bora felt the weight of his words. "We were afraid." "We know," Young said softly. "We understood. That's why we stayed as long as we did. We tried to be what you needed. We tried to be strong enough to help but weak enough not to scare you. But there's no such thing. Power is power. You can use it gently, but you can't make it disappear. And we got tired of pretending it wasn't there." Stepped forward, his hand near his weapon. "Where did you go?" Young looked at him with those calm eyes. "Somewhere we can finally build without watching the galaxy flinch every time we succeed." "That's not an answer," said. "It's the only answer you need," Young replied. "The details don't matter. What matters is that we left, and we're not coming back, not the way we were before." Bora felt something break inside her chest. Hope maybe, or the last piece of the old galaxy dying. Then why are you here? Young reached into his pocket. Every soldier in the room tensed. His hand moved to his weapon, but Young just pulled out a small data chip and held it up. I'm here to deliver a message, he said, and to give you a choice. He placed the chip on the table in the center of the room. This contains our answer to the question you've been asking for 73 cycles. Where did we go? The answer is everywhere and nowhere. We created a pocket dimension, a space that exists alongside yours but separate from it. We took our worlds, our stations, our ships. We folded them out of your reality and into our own. The council members stared at him. Some looked confused. Some looked terrified. All looked amazed. That's impossible, someone said. For you, yes, Young agreed. For us, it took about 6 months to build the infrastructure. We'd been planning it for 200 years. 200 years. Bora felt dizzy. Humans had been planning to leave for 200 years, almost since the day they joined the council. Why tell us this now? She asked. Because you need to understand what you lost, Young said. His voice was not angry or sad, just honest. You didn't lose a member species. You didn't lose some allies. You lost the people who were holding your galaxy together. We were the glue. We ran the trade routes that kept your economy stable. We cured the diseases that your own medicine couldn't touch. We stopped the wars before they started. And we did it all while pretending to be just another species at the table. He walked slowly around the chamber, looking at each council member. Your galaxy is falling apart. We've been watching. 73 cycles, and you've had more wars than the previous 300 years combined. Your economies are crashing. Your people are dying from diseases we used to cure in days, and it's only going to get worse. Then help us, someone shouted. Come back and help us. Young shook his head. No, we won't come back to be your caretakers. We won't come back to be your scary helpers who you thank and fear at the same time, but we'll make you an offer. One chance. One choice. Bora stepped closer. What choice? Young looked directly at her. His eyes were kind but firm. Accept us as we truly are or lose us forever. No more limits. No more laws that only apply to humans. No more asking us to be less. If we come back as equals, full partners, not restrained, not controlled, not managed, just equals. And if we refuse? Bora asked, though she already knew the answer. Then this is goodbye, Young said simply. We'll close the door between our dimension and yours. Forever. You'll never find us, never see us, never hear from us again. We'll be as if we never existed. Spoke up, his voice shaking slightly. You'd leave us to die, after living with us for 300 years. Young's expression softened. We're not leaving you to die. We're leaving you to choose. Do you want partners or do you want servants? Do you want equals or do you want us to keep pretending to be weak? Choose what you really want, and know that we'll respect your answer, whichever it is. He walked back to the center of the room. The data chip has all the details. Read it, discuss it, vote on it. You have 30 days. We'll return for your answer. Bora found her voice. And if we say yes, if we choose partnership? Young smiled again, and for the first time, Bora saw something behind that smile. Something vast, something ancient, something that had been hiding for a very long time. Then you'll finally meet the real us, he said, and that will change everything. The council tore itself apart over the next 20 days. Every species had an opinion. Every leader had a speech. Every diplomat had a plan. But they all came down to the same basic question. Could they accept humans as true equals? One worked in the research division with Jin. They had been partners for years, analyzing data and writing reports. After Young left, they were assigned to study the data chip he had left behind. What they found made them both sick with fear and shame. The chip contained files, thousands of them, all marked with one name. She had been a human, someone who turned dead planets into living worlds. She had worked for the council for over 100 years before the humans disappeared. One had met her once, long ago. She remembered a kind woman with tired eyes. The first file was a video message. His face appeared on the screen. She looked older than one remembered, sadder. "If you're watching this, it means we left," said in the video. "And it means you're finally asking the right questions. So let me give you the answers you should have asked for 300 years ago." The video changed to show complex diagrams and data. His voice continued. "Everything we gave you was a gift, but you thought it was our limit. When we shared our medical technology, you thought that was the best we had. It wasn't. It was the safest version we could give you without completely destroying your own medical industries." One and Jin watched in silence as explained. The medicine that humans had shared could cure most diseases. It was considered miracle technology, but it was actually working at 0.1% of its full capability. The real version, the one humans kept to themselves, could regrow organs, could reverse aging, could cure anything except death itself. "We didn't want to give you the full version," continued, "because if we did, your entire medical economy would collapse overnight. Billions would lose their jobs. Entire industries would become worthless. So we gave you a limited version, and we called it our best, and you believed us." The files went on and on. Every technology humans had shared was the same: limited, restricted, deliberately made less powerful. Human engines could cross the galaxy in hours. They shared engines that took weeks. Human computers could process information 1,000,000 times faster. They shared computers that were only slightly better than what the Council already had. Human weapons could destroy planets. They shared weapons that were barely stronger than conventional arms. "We gave you gifts you thought were our limits," said in another video. "They were our apologies. Apologies for being so far ahead that the truth would have broken you." One paused the video and looked at Jin. "How far ahead are they really?" Jin pulled up another file. This one was a timeline. It showed human technological development going back 50,000 years. 50,000. One read it 3 times to make sure she understood. Humans had not been in space for just a few centuries. They had been traveling between stars for 50,000 years. They had encountered the galaxy long before any current council species had even invented writing. They had explored every corner of known space while everyone else was still living in caves. But they had hidden it. When they joined the council 300 years ago, they had pretended to be a young species, new to space, inexperienced and eager to learn. It had all been an act. "Why," one whispered, "why would they pretend?" Jin found another file. This one was a human philosophy document written by someone named Sung, not the engineer from the beginning, a different Sung from thousands of years ago. "When you are too far ahead, you cannot have friends," the document said. "You can only have or enemies. Those who worship you will never see you as real. Those who fear you will never trust you. So if you want true friendship, true partnership, you must hide your strength. You must make yourself smaller. You must meet them where they are, not where you are." One felt tears on her face. For 50,000 years, humans had been making themselves smaller. For 300 years with the Council, they had pretended to be young and inexperienced. All because they wanted friends, not servants. All because they wanted to be part of something, not above it. And the Council had thanked them by asking them to be even smaller, even quieter, even less. The research division sent their findings to the Council. The debate became worse. Some species said that humans had lied and could never be trusted. Others said that humans had shown incredible kindness and deserved respect. But everyone agreed on one thing: they had no idea what humans were really capable of. While the Council argued, the galaxy continued to fall apart. A plague broke out on the Kelvin colonies. The disease was something humans used to cure in 2 days. Without human medicine, it killed millions in a week. The Council's own doctors could do nothing. War erupted between the Federation and the Helix Alliance. It was a stupid war over a mining dispute. Humans used to mediate these conflicts. They would sit both sides down and find a solution in hours. Without humans, the war dragged on. Fleets destroyed each other. Planets burned. The economy crashed in the Outer Rim. Human trade ships used to move goods faster and cheaper than anyone else. Without them, trade became slow and expensive. Colonies that depended on food shipments began to starve. Every day brought new disasters. Every day reminded the Council of what they had lost, and every day brought them closer to the deadline. 30 days. Young had given them 30 days to choose. On day 28, Bora called an emergency session. She looked exhausted. She had not slept in days. She stood before the council and spoke with a voice that shook. "We have 2 days left," she said. 2 days to make a choice that will decide the future of our galaxy. I've heard all your arguments. I've read all your reports. And I've made my decision. The chamber went silent. Everyone waited. "I'm voting yes," Bora said. "I'm voting to accept humans as full and equal partners. No restrictions, no limitations, no laws that only apply to them. Complete equality." Shouting erupted. Some council members cheered, others protested, but Bora kept talking, her voice rising above the noise. "Look at what we've become," she shouted. "In 73 cycles without humans, we've had more death and destruction than the previous 300 years. We're falling apart. And why? Because we depended on them. We depended on their medicine, their technology, their diplomacy, their protection. But we never admitted it. We took everything they gave us and called it charity. We used their gifts and called them servants." She slammed her hand on the table. "They were never servants. They were gods playing at being equals, and we were too proud or too afraid to see it." The chamber went quiet again. Bora looked around at all the faces watching her. "Young was right," she said more quietly. "We have to choose. Do we want partners or do we want nothing? Do we want equals who might be better than us at some things, or do we want to be alone?" She paused. "I choose partners. I choose to see humans as they truly are, even if that scares me, even if that makes me feel small, because being small and alive is better than being proud and dead." Over the next 2 days, the council voted. It was not unanimous. Many species voted no, still afraid of what full human power might mean. But when the votes were counted, the result was clear. The council chose partnership. They chose to invite humans back as true equals. They chose to finally stop asking humans to be less. On day 30, they sent their answer into space, broadcast on every frequency. Hopping humans were listening. "We were wrong, come back, teach us to be worthy of you." And then they waited to see if humans would answer. 3 ships appeared in council space 7 days after the vote. Not through the jump gates, not from any direction. They simply existed where they had not existed before, hanging in the void near the spire of unity like they had always been there. The ships were beautiful in a way that made no sense. They looked like they were made of light and shadow at the same time. Sensors could not get a clear reading. Some said the ships were small. Others said they were enormous. Both seemed to be true. Bora stood in the council chamber with the other representatives. Her hands were shaking. This was it, the moment that would change everything. A message came from the lead ship. "This is Sung, speaker for the human consensus. We received your answer. We're ready to talk." Sung, the same name as the engineer who had sent that last message 73 cycles ago. But when he appeared on the screen, Bora knew this was not the same man. This Sung looked old, maybe 60 or 70, but his eyes were ancient. They carried the weight of thousands of years. "Thank you for inviting us back," Sung said. His voice was gentle but strong. "Before we begin, you should know what you've agreed to. You voted to accept us as equals, to see us as we truly are. That means no more secrets, no more hiding. Are you ready for that?" Bora looked around the chamber. Some council members looked brave, some looked terrified, all looked determined. She turned back to the screen. "We're ready," she said, hoping it was true. Sung nodded. Then let me introduce you to someone. The screen changed. An old woman appeared. She had white hair and a kind face, but there was something impossible about her. She looked fragile, like she might break from a strong wind. But she also looked powerful, like she could move mountains with a thought. "My name is Sunmi," she said. "Some of you may remember me. I created the Cascade Drive design 300 years ago." Bora felt her blood run cold. Sunmi should have been dead. Humans lived maybe 150 years. Sunmi should have been dust centuries ago. "I'm over 400 years old," Sunmi continued, as if reading Bora's mind. "Human medicine, the real version, can extend life almost indefinitely. I've chosen to stay alive to witness this moment." Stepped forward, his military training overcoming his fear. "What do you want from us?" Sunmi smiled. It was not a cruel smile, just sad. "We want what we've always wanted, to be part of something, to have friends, not followers, but we can't do that if you don't know who we really are." She raised her hand. On the main screen, the image changed to show the Kelvin colonies where the plague was killing millions. Sunmi's fingers moved slightly. The image flickered. "Watch," she said simply. The plague was gone. Every sick person on every colony world suddenly became healthy. Children who had been dying sat up in their beds. Adults who had been unconscious opened their eyes. In less than a second, Sunmi had cured millions of people across dozens of planets. The council chamber erupted in shock, grabbed his weapon, then realized how useless it was. Bora just stared. "That's impossible," someone whispered. "For you, yes," Sunmi agreed. "For me, it's just thinking in the right direction. The plague was a simple viral infection. I adjusted the molecular structure of every virus particle simultaneously. They're now harmless proteins that your bodies will absorb and use for nutrition." She raised her other hand. The screen showed a dying star in the outer rim. The sun had been collapsing for months. Billions would die when it went supernova. Sunmi's fingers moved again. The star stabilized, its collapse reversed. Energy flowed back into its core. In seconds, a dying sun became young again. 50,000 years of practice," Sunmi said quietly. 50,000 years of learning how the universe works at its deepest levels. This is what we can do when we don't hold back. She lowered her hands. The council chamber was completely silent. Even the species that did not breathe seemed to be holding their breath. Sung appeared on screen again. "Now you understand. This is what we've been hiding. This is what we could always do. Sunmi is one of our best, but she's not unique. There are thousands like her. Humans who have lived for centuries or learning to bend reality to their will." Bora found her voice, though it came out as a whisper. "You're not just advanced, you're—" "What word would you use?" Sung asked. "Gods, demigods, post-biological entities. We're still human. We still eat and sleep and love and cry. We just learn to do other things too." He leaned forward. "This is what you agreed to accept. This is what true equality means. We won't hide this anymore. We won't pretend to be weak. We won't limit our technology to make you comfortable. If we return as we are." Spoke up, his voice shaking. "How can we be equals when you can do things we can't even imagine?" Sung's expression softened. "The same way a teacher and a student can be equals. The same way a parent and a child can be equals. The same way any two beings can be equals, even when one is stronger. Equality isn't about being identical. It's about mutual respect, mutual choice, mutual partnership." "You could rule us," someone said from the council seats. "You could force us to obey." "We could," Sunmi agreed. "We could have done it 50,000 years ago. We could have done it 300 years ago. We could do it right now. But we don't want to rule. We never wanted to rule. We wanted to belong." She looked directly at the camera, and Bora felt like those ancient eyes were looking into her soul. "You've lived your entire lives in a galaxy where humans were holding themselves back, where we limited ourselves to keep you safe, where we made ourselves small to make you feel big. That galaxy is over. Sung stood up. The human consensus is offering one final choice. We can return to council space. We can bring our worlds back into normal reality. We can share our real technology, our real knowledge, our real capabilities, but only if you accept us completely. No new laws to restrict us. No committees to monitor us. No treaties to limit us. We return as full partners, or we don't return at all. He paused. You have 1 hour to decide. If you say yes, everything changes. If you say no, we close the door forever. Choose. The screen went dark. The council chamber exploded into debate. Some species were terrified, others were excited, many were both. Bora called for order. We already voted once, but that was before we knew the full truth. We need to vote again, right now. The voting took 40 minutes. It was closer this time. Many species who had voted yes before now voted no, too afraid of what full human power meant. But others who had voted no before now voted yes, seeing the good that humans could do. When the votes were counted, Bora read the result with a voice that trembled. The council votes to accept. By a margin of 3 votes, we choose partnership. She looked up at where she knew the human ships were waiting. We choose you, all of you, as you truly are, come home. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then reality began to tear. It started as a shimmer in space, then a crack, then a doorway made of light and impossible angles. Through that doorway came humanity, not just 3 ships, thousands, millions, entire fleets that made the Council's military look like toys. And behind the fleets came the planets. Haven appeared first, sliding back into normal space like it had never left. Then New Sol. Then Earth itself, ancient and beautiful, returning to the galaxy it had left. Humans came through that dimensional doorway in a flood, not invading, not conquering, just coming home. Sung's voice filled the chamber. Thank you. We know this wasn't easy. We know you're afraid, but you made the right choice. Now we can finally show you what partnership really means. Over the next weeks, the galaxy transformed. Human medicine cured every plague. Human diplomats ended every war. Human engineers rebuilt the broken economy. But this time, they did it openly, honestly, without hiding their power or pretending to struggle. Some species couldn't handle it. They left council space, too proud or too afraid to stay. Others welcomed the change, eager to learn from humanity's 50,000 years of experience. Bora met with Sung in person a month after the return. They sat in a small room in the spire, just the 2 of them. Are we really equals, she asked, when you can do things we can't? Sung smiled. We're equals in the ways that matter. You have the same voice in council that we do, the same rights, the same freedoms. Yes, we have more power, but power and equality are not opposites. A strong friend is still a friend. It will take time, Bora said, for people to get used to this. We know, Sung agreed. We have time. We've been patient for 50,000 years. We can be patient a little longer. He stood to leave, then paused. Thank you, Bora, for voting yes, for choosing partnership over pride. It took courage. Bora watched him go, this ancient being in a human shape. The galaxy had changed forever. Humans no longer hid their light. They no longer made themselves small. They stood at full height, and the universe would have to adjust. It wouldn't be easy, it wouldn't be comfortable, but it would be real. And that, Bora thought, was worth everything.